Thank you very much, and I just want to thank everybody that is here that is supporting this incredible organization. And actually, I think I'm substituting for my daughter, Camila Chavez. Okay, Camila is on the College Opportunities Board, and she's also the executive director of my foundation, the Dolores Huerta Foundation. And I just want to say a couple of words just about education. As I go around the country, and everybody wonders, how did we get into this mess that we're in right now at the national level? I say, guess what? Lack of education, right? Once I was speaking at Notre Dame, and one of the students asked me, if you could say something to our president, what would you say to him? I'd say, get an education, okay? Because he needs one. And you heard the introduction that I was co-founder of the United Farm Workers with Cesar Chavez. Well, Cesar only went to the 8th grade. Cesar never got a high school education. He never went to college, but the man was a genius, and he knew that there were so many people out there that just never had the opportunity. And this is what this organization is about, because we know that we have to have opportunities, especially for our children of color. My foundation, as Jess knows, we're working on what we call stopping the school-to-prison pipeline, because there are so many of our kids of color that are being deprived, and they've got this, thank you, hon, and they got this system where kids are, when they do something wrong in the schools, they call the police, and the kids automatically get a record. Right now, we're working in a place called California Cities, where 81% of the African-American students have been suspended or expelled. And we know that this is wrong. Another thing I just want to throw this out here is that, we have to look at all of our colleges. As I go around to these different colleges and I'm speaking, I ask the question, how many on this campus are African-American students? Our public universities, the answers are alarming. 3%, 4%. UCLA, 3%. These are our public institutions. This we have to change. Same thing with Latino students. Higher than African American, but not that much higher. So these are things that we have to think about as we go forward with this incredible organization that we are here to honor tonight. But my real job here tonight is actually to introduce and to honor our Attorney General, Javier Becerra, okay? So I am very fortunate to know Javier since he was a very young man. And you know what? I think one of the reasons he's such a great Attorney General and was such a great congressman is because he's always been mentored by women. First by Gloria Molina, whom he worked for. And then, of course, as you may know, that when he was in the Congress, he was Nancy Pelosi's right hand, okay? So, this is why I think one of the reasons why he is so great. And we were so lucky in California that the governor appointed him to be the Attorney General. I think that was such a stroke of luck for us. But and I'm not going to talk about everything that he's done because we have to Google it, okay? Because he has sued the Trump administration 38 times and counting, okay? And counting. But when it comes to the educational stuff, you know how the president kept talking about the wall, the wall, the wall? Well, Javier said, hey, I think that might be an environmental issue. So he filed a lawsuit on that one, okay? And then, of course, there was a sanctuary state, and he said, well, we're not going to let that one go unanswered, so he filed an amicus brief on that one also. Then, of course, I think the really great thing that we want to thank him for, and this is a really big one, separation of children from their parents, that disastrous policy that Trump put out there. Well, Javier said, no way, all right? No way to Trump. And so he sued on that one also. But the big one is on DACA, all right? Thank you, Javier, for filing that lawsuit that is keeping our DACA students. And we know that there have been many more attorney generals that are following Javier's his leadership in that. So I'm going to kind of break a little bit of precedent here, but I'm just going to say a big viva for Javier Becerra. So I'm going to say, que viva Javier Becerra. Everybody say big old viva, okay? Que viva Javier Becerra. Viva! Okay, our Attorney General.
She makes a pretty good substitute for. Dolores, thank you for just having the energy and passion to be at the right places at the right time, always when we need you. So we need you. Be there. Be there. If I could just say to Michelle, to all your team, actually, Jesse was the one that first approached me to come over here and make sure I'd be able to make this event. So I want to thank all of the team at the Campaign for College Opportunity for inviting me. I feel like I want to squeeze in a whole lot because everything that's been mentioned, I want to sort of tag on to because my father got to the 6th grade before he had to start working. Both of my parents are Mexican ancestry. My mother came from Guadalajara when she married my father when she was 18. I never had a chance to play a day of catch, throw a baseball with my dad or a football. I learned how to hammer nails into wood really well, but I never got to, do sports with my father. But I learned a lot. And even though they had never gotten to know professionals, whether in their family or in their community, my friends in college became their heroes because my parents finally got to rub elbows with not professionals, but future professionals. And for them, that was a big deal to be able to be around future doctors and future lawyers. So it was a good thing. So I simply want to say a couple of things and at the same time pay homage to the other honorees because I think the people that you are recognizing tonight deserve it. And I hope they recognize tonight through this honor that we're trying to send you a message. Don't stop. Don't stop. Keep doing it. There were some words which I wish were my own but weren't that I live by. There was someone who was a great American hero 160 years ago or so who said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And those words were uttered not by Abraham Lincoln, but by Frederick Douglass. Yeah, and I think he knew so very well in those days what was happening to so many of our kids. But you fast forward 160 years later, and it's still happening. And by God, I think everyone who's come up here to speak can show you what happens when you put a little bit of money and a little bit of time into kids who've never known what college is like. I went to Stanford University. I grew up here in Sacramento. I didn't know where Stanford was, even though I had applied to Stanford, until the day I was actually driving with my mom to start my first day at Stanford in September 1976. But someone was willing to help my parents help pay for my college education because they could not afford it as a construction worker and a clerical worker. And so we really have to be about building strong children. And by the way, my remarks are going to be about everything other people have said so very well, because I think we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We know what we have to do. And so it should surprise no one. By the way, Dolores, I think I submitted my 38 lawsuit about a month and a half ago. We're at 44 now against the Trump administration. But no one should be surprised at what we're doing. I'm simply defending the values that have made California what it is. And what we're talking about today is making sure that all those young children, like me, like so many of you in this room, have that opportunity to prove that we can do this thing. We can make it work. And so that's the beauty of this. And whether it's the words of a dear friend and a civil rights icon, John Lewis, who said, if you want to make change, you got to get into trouble. Good trouble. Good trouble. You got to get in the way. Or whether it's the words of a Welsh poet who died in the 50s at the tender age of 39. He said some powerful words that I love to use as well, because he wrote this poem. Most people think it was for his father who was getting ready to expire. When he said, and you'll probably recognize it by that first stanza, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light." Dylan Thomas wrote those words probably about his father, who was in his latter years of life. But I can tell you that for those of us who are watching Washington, D.C. try to snuff out the light of opportunity for so many people, we understand what it means. We cannot go gentle. And we have to be ready to rage against those who would try to close the door of opportunity before our kids have a chance to get there. And so, whether it's John Lewis's encouragement to get in the way and get into good trouble, whether it was Dylan Thomas's words which spoke so poetically, or perhaps it's the words of the young dreamers here in America who have a slogan which I use. I just changed one of the words. Their slogan is undocumented and unafraid. Right? Undocumented and unafraid. If they can be undocumented and unafraid, so courageous to get out there and publicly state who they are and what they are, then why should we be anything but unbowed and unafraid with them? And so 44 lawsuits, the one that got the injunction against the Trump administration to preserve the program, the DACA program, those are all things that I have to do because I am the son of immigrants. I am the son of a man who remembers when the doors, not just to opportunity, but the doors to restaurants wouldn't open because of the signs that said no dogs, Negroes, or Mexicans allowed. And so, by God, we're going to be opening doors. And this campaign for college opportunity is all about opening doors. When you recognize some of us today, I think you're recognizing, and I hope you're acknowledging that we still have a lot of work to do. 44 is a good number. There will be more. And it will be only for the purpose of making sure that there are young children who want to dream. And we have to make sure that that door is wide open. Because when you get all that diversity of talent and thought in a room, wow, that's what happens. And that becomes what we know as California. So thank you for this honor. Thank you for letting me come this evening. We got work to do. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name's Audrey Dow, and I'm the Senior Vice President at the Campaign for College Opportunity. It's wonderful to be with all of you. I'm based in our Los Angeles office, so I don't always get to see everyone here in Sacramento, so it's really a pleasure to meet so many of you tonight. Several months ago, as we were sitting down as an executive team and all of our directors, we were thinking about tonight and our event that we're having in December and about who our honorees would be this year. And we were thinking about our colleges and our university leaders, and then we all kind of paused for a second and started thinking about the people that really motivate us and inspire us every single day, that are oftentimes behind the scenes, but who are really those movers and shakers that are making a difference in the lives of our students. And we thought about, what if we had an award called the Unsung Hero Award? Because there are so many here tonight that are in our midst that don't do the work that they do for fame or recognition or an elected office sometimes. They do it because it's the right thing to do, and they've dedicated their lives and their careers to that. And many of them in this room as well also look beyond their own generations to new generations to make sure that the work continues. And the name that came up super quickly in that conversation as we were thinking about our unsung heroes amongst us, and one of the first names that came to us was Maria Blanco. Maria Blanco, as all of you know, serves as the executive director of the UC Center for Immigrant Services and is the first executive director for that office. There are 75,000 undocumented students in California's public colleges and universities, and it's a tremendous amount of talent and expertise that's in that group. And Maria works tirelessly every single day to ensure that those students are prepared for California and that we can reap the investment and the benefit of the work of those students. She came to us very quickly when there was an announcement by the Trump administration about the repeal of DACA and said, this is not just a UC issue. This is a CSU issue, and this is a community college issue. And how can I work with you? How can we bring philanthropy to the table? How can we bring business to the table and civil rights to the table to make sure that all of our students are protected? She didn't have to do that. She didn't have to think beyond the UC in her official role, but always had her eye on the bigger picture of our students here in California. A few months ago, I had the opportunity to have a nice dinner one-on-one with Maria Blanco, and it was kind of a dream for me, as she's such an amazing trailblazer and mentor. But one of the things she said, that during these dark times, it's really important as advocates that we take care of ourselves, that we nurture ourselves, that we make sure we take a time out and stay healthy, because it's a long fight we have ahead of time. And so tonight, Maria, I hope that tonight is a night of happiness for you. That I hope it's a night that you can enjoy in what is sometimes a dark world, because we see your light, and your light touches all of us, and we are so lucky to have you in California as a gem. So please join me in honoring Maria Blanco.
You're the best. So I have some prepared remarks, but I always prepare them. I always leave them somewhere on some table. My voice is a little raw. The fires are, as much as they've affected us, I have to say my heart is broken for what is happening to the victims of the fires throughout California and very close to here in Butte. And we've never had fires this big and this deadly. And I can't believe our president turned it into a political ploy. That'll be my only comment about him tonight. But I really am heartbroken about what's happening in our state with the fires. I really want to thank the Campaign for College Opportunity for this award. And whenever there's a situation like this, I always think to myself, it's an opportunity to talk about the organization that has given you the award. Because in their selection, they're saying something about themselves. And I was talking to Audrey on Sunday, and I told her, you know, you probably don't know this, but I knew the Campaign for College Opportunity before it existed. So I was National Senior Counsel for MALDEF, and I ran the Sacramento office for MALDEF. And David approached me and said, you know, we really need an organization that's focused on access to higher education and that actually doesn't just deal with UC or affirmative action or CSU, but that actually looks at this entirety of the problem with access and how the segments interact and what we can do to really broaden access. And we don't just need pronouncements. We need an organization that does research, that knows how to draft legislation, that knows how to get in the weeds about like what happens with that transfer student. And that's how the campaign was born. And we had many conversations. And then I remember talking to him when there was a decision to hire the first director. And I have to tell you that that decision was very important because they selected somebody that was an amazing tactician and strategist, Abdi Soltani, who I had worked with for many years. He was the head of the Californians for Justice. And the decision was, we need somebody that knows how to link the business community, the legislature, the advocates, the community groups, and take people out of their corners and bring everybody to one mission, which is equity and access. And that was a fundamental decision, that it wasn't going to be just about access for this group, and it wasn't just going to be improving the transfer rates from community college to UC, that this was really a very difficult, complex problem that required somebody that could bring everybody together. And That was 15 years ago, or 14. I think next year is the 15th anniversary. And now we have an organization that not only has kept that mission, but has kept that laser focus of understanding that it's about research, it's about data, it's about communications, it's about the legislature, it's about community groups. And every work that all the work this organization does is excellent. This is about excellence. I was incredibly happy when last year the Campaign for College Opportunity, that has always done excellent work, decided to shine its light on the access for undocumented students. Okay? It's not that they had ignored that, it's that, there were other people in that space, but with the times as they are, the campaign said we can't just talk about this issue generally. We have to bring all those skills we have, legislation, communications, data, research, we have to bring it to bear on this issue. What is going to happen for access to undocumented students? And they brought a group of people together, because this is really what the campaign does. They bring people together. And they don't just bring people together and we sing Kumbaya. No, when we get together, it's like, what is going to be the legislative strategy? What's the data program? What's the research? What's the communication strategy for this? We need to do focus groups. Who needs to be at the table, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the way the campaign does its work. And we had one meeting, and we had 2 meetings, and we had 3 meetings, and then we came up with a strategy. And as a result of that strategy, the campaign pushed hard to create a legal services fund to provide immigrant legal services like the ones that we have at the University of California, where we provide immigrant legal services for undocumented students and all their family members. Okay? We don't just do DACA. If a parent gets picked up and is slated for deportation, we're there. And we said the CSUs need this, and the community colleges need this. They may even need it more than we do, because the numbers are bigger and the structures are weaker. And they pushed, and we got $4 million for the UC to do this. Help me here, 7? 7 for the CSUs, 12? 10 for the community colleges, okay? That was a huge, huge lift, that kind of money to provide legal services at higher education institutions for undocumented students and their families. Then we dealt with the loans. Okay, so we have loans for dreamers to go to school, but nobody wants loans when you don't know if you're going to be able to work tomorrow. Okay, we need loan forgiveness. We worked on a bill for loan forgiveness, right? And then the final thing was we said, and now we need to build an ongoing coalition that continues to do this work and identify future needs. And that happened. So I just want to say thank you to the campaign for bringing its excellence to this issue, which is an issue really not of undocumented students. It's an issue of undocumented Californians, which means it's about the future of California and who we educate and whether they have access and whether this state will be able to go forward, because this is the population we have. So thank you very much.
Let's give Maria Blanco another round of applause. What an incredible inspiration. As Executive Vice President of the Campaign for College Opportunity, I have the privilege of witnessing true courage in action and crossing paths with equity warriors like our next honoree, Pamela Haynes. As Interim Vice President of the Board of Governors and President of the Los Rios Community College Trustees, Pam is the rare leader who is unwavering in her convictions, even when it comes at personal cost. She's a proud product of California community colleges, graduated from Harvard while balancing motherhood. She is wickedly smart, collaborative, and kind. She is strong and unapologetic in her pursuit of social justice and educational opportunity for our most marginalized populations. whether organizing the community to dialogue ways to upend the school-to-prison pipeline, supporting bold reforms to transform remedial education in California, or serving as a spokesperson for adopting a student-centered community college funding formula. She is a steadfast champion and true believer that leadership begins with taking a stance. Moreover, Pam Haynes is an unsung hero because she doesn't seek accolades or credit, though she does advocate that the system address issues of race and inequity head-on and supports the system changes necessary to level the playing field for all students. She does it largely without fanfare. In fact, she confided in me that she was a bit uncomfortable being the center of attention tonight. Humility, courage, conviction, and the willingness to always make students her North Star are the core attributes of our unsung hero, Pamela Haynes.
Okay, so I'm going to use my notes here because I don't want to miss anything that I want to say to everyone. First and foremost, I want to congratulate those awardees who are here this evening. You deserve our deep appreciation for the courage that you've taken to stand on behalf of those of us who don't always have a voice. So thank you for that. I also want to thank the Campaign for College Opportunity for this recognition and also for being disruptive. It's an asset. I'd also like to thank my colleagues from the Board of Governors and my colleagues from the Los Rios Community College District. We downgraded the chancellor, saying that he was the chancellor of Sacramento City College. That's not accurate. He is the chancellor of Los Rios. There are 4 colleges there, and I want to give him his due. And I also want to recognize our chancellor, Eloy Oakley, for his support for his leadership. But I have to tell you that none of us do this work alone. We do it together, and we are stronger by virtue of it. So I'm both honored and humbled by the recognition, but I truly believe that I'm a conduit and a voice in support of our students. And I want to talk about them because it's the reason why we're sort of all here. They come to our campuses seeking to fulfill their educational goals. They come with dreams. They come with their aspirations. This work is first and foremost about our students, and they must be the center of our decision making. We've begun to work by fixing a broken remedial education system that disproportionately affects Black and brown students. And what we must keep utmost in mind is something that Ralph Waldo Emerson said: the secret in education lies in respecting the student. And I think sometimes we forget that piece. We think that they come to us as empty vessels. They do not. And we need to hear them. We need to be engaged with them so that we really understand the work that we absolutely have to do. I continue to be committed to advocating for California's higher education systems that reflect the diversity of our state. There's no doubt in my mind that strategic policy reforms like AB 705 and the Student Success Funding Formula will help in closing the opportunity gap and support our neediest students in reaching their dreams. This is about their dreams. This work won't get done without significant partnerships between community college organizations, higher education system offices, local boards of trustees, and the Board of Governors. The work we do is critical. as I thought about the things I wanted to say, there is one thing that stood out for me as we do this work. To quote UNESCO, education is a fundamental human right and is essential for the exercise of all other human rights. So I close by saying the educational reform work we do together is essential to ensuring that everyone's human rights are secure. That's what this work is about. And so thank you so much for this recognition.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lena Carew, and I'm the co-founder and executive director for an organization called Students Making a Change. And I am honored here to present awards to 3 phenomenal students and leaders in their community with the Rising Star Award. So as a former community college student myself, I graduated. I was also a student organizer, and I embody the transformational change that policy advocacy work can have on the lives of individuals. After 5 years and 113 credit units, I successfully transferred to UC Berkeley. My success was in part due to my tenacity and persistence, certainly, but it was really working with student advocates and policy partners that transformed me. When I started Students Making a Change at the City College of San Francisco, my friends and I couldn't have even imagined how impactful our work would eventually become. But since then, I've witnessed the transformation of other students who stand in their power unapologetically to voice their experiences with completing their degree and pursuing their dreams. It's an honor to present tonight's award to a select group of strong advocates and champions for change in community colleges, each of which demonstrate the importance of student advocacy to ensure successful implementation of policy that directly impacts student success. So first, I'd like to honor Alexander Walker Griffin, who's recognized for his leadership. Yes, round of applause. Yay. He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. And we want to recognize him for his leadership tonight, serving as a voice for California college students. Alexander has been involved in politics since the age of 5. Emerging as a youth leader, Alexander co-founded a company at 16 years old that won the Junior Achievements of Northern California's Best Business Plan, Commercial, and Best Junior Achievement Company in Northern California. Having worked on campaigns, political campaigns, and as congressional intern, Alexander was appointed to the California Community Colleges Board of Governors in 2017 by Governor Jerry Brown. And additionally, Alexander has held multiple roles in service to students, including Contra Costa College's student body president, vice president of Contra Costa College's student government, and former president of community organizing and political action. And, because there's more, Alexander has many other talents and interests, including a deep commitment to his service with the California National Guard and a campaign hopeful for the Hercules City Council, his hometown. Congratulations, Alexander.
Thank you so much. First off, I just wanted to say thank you so much. As you probably saw me over in the corner, I was looking very awkward. I really don't know how to take compliments. But I wanted to say this award really means a lot to me. A few months ago, maybe a little bit over a year ago, all the folks at Campaign for College reached out to me and asked could I help them with a few projects. Now, me being me, I have a hard time saying no. So I just wanted to say thank you to all the people at the Campaign for College. I mean, personally, I take my work on the Board of Governors very seriously, and I really enjoy lobbying for students. You know, being on the Board of Governors, I've had the opportunity to listen to students from all across this great state, from Placer County down to San Diego County and Imperial County. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's pretty freaking inspiring, and I'm kind of tearing up. So, which is why when I go to the Capitol and I talk to assembly members and senators, I bring stories that my friends share with me. Because I'm going to be quite honest with you, in my opinion, college tuition is systematic oppression. And I know as I stand right here, I'm standing on the shoulders of people that came before me. Because to be quite honest with you, at 19 years old, getting appointed by the governor to the largest system of higher education in the country is pretty unrealistic. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone, and we all have to keep fighting. Because we know when we give someone an education, we're opening the doors for them. And not just for them, but for their children and the people that came after them. Fortunately, both of my parents went to college, but I know that there's a lot of people out there who still don't have the opportunity to do so, which is why we need to keep fighting and keep advocating. I always got my business cards. I like to talk, so if we want to go to Sacramento, let's do it. And thank you so much. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wonderful. So next up is Maggie White. So Maggie White is a legislative policy analyst for CSSA's Office of Government Relations in Sacramento, and she splits her time between advocating in the Capitol for legislation supported by the CSSA Board of Directors, finding solutions to issues in higher education by conducting research and supporting the Student-Led Legislative Affairs Committee. Maggie has previously served as president of CSSA from 2017 to 2018 and as a student trustee on the CSU Board of Trustees from 2015 to 2017. That's so impressive. She is a proud graduate of Modesto Junior College and a CSU Stanislaus, where she obtained her bachelor's degree in communication studies and a master's degree in public administration. While living and working in rural parts of the San Joaquin Valley, she saw firsthand how poverty impeded educational opportunities and that could lead to upward social economic mobility, and found her passion for increasing access to higher education and equity within those systems. Congratulations, Maggie. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much for that kind introduction. I feel just beyond honored and blessed to be among such amazing company tonight. And something that is such a core tenet to who I am is the belief that when you are blessed, it is your job, your only job, to then go on and be a blessing to others. But when I was younger, a few years ago, I really struggled deep in my soul with the idea that I would never find how I could best serve others, that I would never find my purpose, the way that I could uniquely serve my peers. When I was appointed to the CSU Board of Trustees by Governor Brown at 20, after immediately Googling what a trustee does, because I was way in over my head, believe me, I had no idea that I would go on to earn a master's degree from CSU Stanislaus, something I had never before dreamed of, that I would go on to be part of a body that would appoint 5 female university presidents in 1 year, achieving gender parity in the CSU for the first time in history. The thing that I am most proud of beyond all others, to then go to Washington, D.C., and advocate for my undocumented and documented peers, for their rights nationally, for all of my friends. I feel so blessed when I look back at the work that has been done and know that together we have accomplished something so wonderful. But I also reflect on all of the work that is left to be done for our student parents, our student veterans, our students of color, our students who identify with so many marginalized groups across our state. It would be easy, I think, to feel discouraged by the volume of work that's left to be done. But when I remember my passion for service, when I see the passion and the capacity just in this room tonight, I know that we have the ability to make sure that every Californian lives in an environment and has the opportunity to maximize their potential. I know that in this room, we have the ability to cause quite a lot of good trouble. And I feel so blessed to be a part of that. So thank you very much.
Okay, last but not least, very near and dear to my heart is Kashmir Young. Kashmir is a City College, a student at City College of San Francisco, and a student leader and fellow in Students Making a Change, an organization I founded. And Kashmir is a powerful and brilliant student advocate. He's also a mom of a wildly smart, are you 5 or 6 now? Are you 6 yet? Six, Kyra's 6. Kashmir has led organizing and advocacy efforts for AB 705 implementation at both the local and state level, and she is fearless. Additionally, Kashmir has organized student voices to ensure equity was centered during the legislative process around the student success funding formula. Kashmir is a force for change and demonstrates that change for other students like her, and there's millions of them. And it's an honor to present this award in celebration of Kashmir's work for ensuring equity for community college students. Congratulations, Cash.
Well, I didn't expect to give a speech, but thank you. I'm more than honored. In all honesty, I never saw me like being an actual advocate for anybody. I was one of those students that went unheard, that, you know, felt like I couldn't speak my mind. I didn't want to overstep my boundaries. But since working with SMAC, I have become that voice for other students where it's like, yo, we got to step on some toes sometimes, and we got to, you know, maybe ruffle up a couple feathers and get up under people's skin. Because that's the only way that they're going to really listen. They think that we are sometimes needing more guidance than understanding, which is a misunderstanding. So, you know, it's nice to be recognized and to also be that voice, be that barrier breaker for students like myself. I'm a single mom to a beautiful baby girl, but I want to show her that education is, you know, power. Knowledge is power, and nobody can tell you what you can or cannot do. Nobody can stop you from speaking your mind. Nobody should ever stop you from speaking your mind, you know? And we have the whole world, so let's explore it.
Thank you, Kashmir. I think it's clear that the future is in incredibly good hands with Maggie, Alex, and Kashmir at the helm, and with Kashmir's beautiful daughter as well, seeing her mother get this award. Let's give her another round of applause. And thank you to Lena Carew from Students Making a Change, undoubtedly our best student advocacy group in the state, being that angelic troublemaker, refusing to back down when they know there is so much work to do for students. So as we close the program this evening, we want to recognize the sponsors who have made tonight possible. We would not be able to bring this event to you without their generous support. First, we'd like to thank the College Board, and tonight we'll be hearing shortly from Dr. Al Mijares, who will be speaking on behalf of the College Board, who has been our platinum level sponsor. We're also so thankful to the California Business Roundtable and Rob Slapsley for their support, as well as the Foundation for California Community Colleges, represented tonight by Joseph Quintana. The University of California Office of the President, represented tonight by Meredith Turner and Kieran Flowerty. And Grad Guru, as well as the Los Rios Community College District. And I want to make sure that we say the Los Rios Community College District was represented by Chancellor Brian King. SEIU Local 1000 and Miguel Cordova, thank you so much for your generous support. The Thomas Law Group, the University of California Chicano Latino Alumni Association, represented tonight by Caroline Cabayas, who is a phenomenal advocate in Sacramento. Cafe de California, Chicano Latino State Employees Association, Lucas Public Affairs, and Mark Baldassari and Cheryl Cates. Can we give them all a round of applause? At this time, we would like to welcome Dr. Mijares, who will be speaking on behalf of College Board.
Thank you very much. And good evening. It's probably, you're getting tired, and it would be unbecoming of me to do a big speech. I simply want to say that this has been very inspirational for me to be here today and to hear the wonderful speakers that have preceded me. I don't know what I can add, ladies and gentlemen, but let me just say this. The former president of the College Board asked me to consider joining the team. In fact, he and Jim Montoya, some of you may know Jim Montoya, who headed up student services and admissions a long time ago at Stanford University. And I was very dubious of the organization, as many of you may be. But at that time, the president wanted to democratize AP. He wanted to see more girls, boys, young men, young women in AP classes, because there was a linear relationship between success in AP and ultimately graduating from college. Because we got kids going to college, and this organization, the Campaign for College Opportunities, does a great job of telling us that only half of them graduate, right? They don't come back for their sophomore year. And that caught me. So I joined the team, and it has been an abundant experience for me. I currently chair the the membership committee of the College Board. And so I'm here to receive this award. And we have two people here that are with me, Kanika Lichtern and Eddie Atiaga. Eddie is, he's involved in higher education, and Kanika does special initiatives for the president. But the point is this: Asa Hilliard, the late Asa Hilliard, said, do we have the political will to educate all of our students? People, we know what to do to equalize the classroom. You know, the separate but equal thing that was fought by Thurgood Marshall, the Mendes case. Felix Frankfurter asked him, what is equal? And he said, doing the same thing at the same time in the same place. And today, our kids do not have equality. If you go into rooms and classrooms where you have poor people, and many of them are Latino, many of them are African American, Indo-Chinese, just a lot, Native Americans, it's not equal. And we have the capacity to change that, but it requires the political will to do it. And we have men and women in this room who have spoken, who I think are the right people for this country, this state and country. I mean, I voted for A.G. Becerra in downtown Orange County. You know the politics a little bit. That's all changing, though, because the politics now in Orange County, the demography mirrors that of California. Two-thirds of the kids in our classrooms are people of color. So the point is that the College Board is being pushed. And I don't think it needs to be a heavy push, because we have a president, David Coleman, who says assessment without opportunity is dead. And so we are putting our money into things that are going to close these gaps, create opportunities, because there's nothing more threatening to the concept of democracy than to have an illiterate population and a feeble workforce that represents this country. And the only way that workforce is going to change, and we're going to guarantee the workforce to create the preeminence that I believe this country must retain, is to assure that our Latinos and our African American young boys and men and women are making the grade. They're making the mark. They're taking their place at the university, and they're graduating with a degree and making their splash out in society. There are people that don't think they can do it. I spoke with the Undersecretary of Labor in China, and he says, we just graduated over 800,000 STEM majors who have college degrees and speak English. And there are people that think that that whole thing can displace the workforce of the United States. Now, that's obviously an oversimplification. I'm not suggesting that. But the boys and girls that are in our classrooms today of color and at the poverty level, unless they are successful, we cannot meet the labor demands of this country. So you talk about a threat to democracy and the economy, which is what you guys, what the Campaign for College Opportunity is all about: sustaining the workforce, the economy, and assuring that our democracy is retained. So thank you for giving us this award. I'll take it back proudly, and I hope that we can come back and do this again.
Thank you, Audrey. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Wolf. It's been my privilege and pleasure to be associated with the Campaign for College Opportunity since before it was. I want to thank, first of all, you all for being here and joining us in recognizing all these wonderful leaders who are making the big difference in California higher education. Whether it's the AG, people within the systems themselves, the UC, Los Rios, or the students themselves who are organizing and putting the pressure where it needs to be. Together, difference is happening. When Steve Weiner and I first began this effort, which it's hard to believe it was 14 years ago, but when the campaign began, it was labeled a campaign because we were going to fix the problem in 3 years. The persistence, the talent, the real smarts, and as a number of our leaders have mentioned, the desire, or I should say, the lack of fear about creating some trouble now and again, some good trouble, is essential to making the changes we're talking about. Now, we live in an evidence-based era. And standing next to me are two bits of very important evidence. To my far left is Brian Orduña. Brian's a DACA. By the way, as an aside, let me say it's nice being in a group of people who you don't have to explain DACA to. Brian, first in his family to go to college. He's in his third year at UC Davis, landscape architecture. He's going to make it. Nadia Paniagua, first in her family, DACA. She is about to finish her master's degree in public administration. She graduated from Sonoma State, by the way, a couple of years ago. Double major with honors. Folks, these are why we're doing this. We have the evidence that good policy yields positive results, which, as many of our speakers have mentioned, means a positive future for California and certainly a positive future for our citizens who are emerging. Thank you for being here. Let me turn this back to Jesse, who's done a wonderful job of organizing all this as we close today's proceedings. Thank you all.
Thank you to our fearless co-founder, David Wolf. We would not be here as an organization had it not been for the vision and hard work of David Wolf and Steve Weiner. We thought it only fitting to close out our evening really centered in why we do what we do, which is student voice. Students are the heartbeat of the Campaign for College Opportunity. Without our students as the loudest and most effective advocates for policy reform, we would not see the transformations that we have in public post-secondary today. And with that, I have the pleasure of introducing one of my favorite student activists, a leader with Blacks Making a Difference, a leader from Sacramento City Unified School District, who is now a proud college student at UC Davis, Melissa Bordeaux.
We all experience struggles, no matter how big or how small. And see, a struggle is like a seed rooted in our society, and we will all experience them in their entirety. And those seeds will continue to grow and mold into our lives, dropping apples into our world. And before you know it, your life will flash before your eyes. And all that you can say is that you've struggled. Whereas if for some reason you decided to say that right now on this day, today the apple will fall far from the tree, today the roots will grow no deeper, comfort go away, today my mountain will become steeper. Because let me tell you something about comfort. Sorry. The smoke is getting to me. Let me tell you something about comfort. A lot of people like to say that money is the root of all evil, but I think not, because comfort will inevitably accumulate discomfort like a blood clot. Comfort will inevitably accumulate discomfort like a blood clot. One second. Start over. We all experience struggles, no matter how big or how small, and there will always be one commonality throughout them all. See, a struggle is like a seed rooted in our society, and we will all experience it in its entirety. It will continue to grow, dropping apples into our lives and shaping our lives. And then before you know it, your life will flash before your eyes. And the only thing that you will be able to say is that you struggled. Whereas if for some reason you decided to say that right now, on this day, the apple will fall far from the tree today. Today, the roots will grow no deeper. Comforts go away. Today, our mountains will become steeper. Because let me tell you something about comfort. A lot of people like to say that money is the root of all evil, but I think not. Because comfort will inevitably accumulate discomfort like a blood clot. See, you can become uncomfortable with not having a place to lay your head. And you can also become uncomfortable with being spoon-fed. Either way, your struggles will come, and you will develop some sort of discomfort in what you have become. Now, what will have become, ultimately, we won't know. But the only thing that we will know, is that you could work at McDonald's or Macy's, or you could be someone like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity like Beyonce or Jay-Z. But my point is that when you take advantage of the opportunity to certify your dreams, then that in itself is a dream come true. And with that, the possibilities of opportunities will become endless to you, because a degree is like a seed planted within yourself with the ability to grow and populate the world with apples of entrepreneurs and other things, so that one day that word degree will become plural, and then your degree will become your child's, and theirs will become your grandkids. And it's almost as if the apple was designed to fall far from the tree, so then you can stand and say that I have become a successful me. Now, I don't intend for this message to be directed just towards the students. For those of us that pave the way and make the rules, it is our duty to dismantle the comfort within our schools. It is our duty as a society to not only uproot those seeds, but to reap what we have sown and plant new seeds to grow into successful individuals. So no, college is not the only option, but it is one of the most valuable tickets that we have in our pockets. It is your ticket to both millions, billions, and trillions too. I have gone to school for African American studies, sociology, and education, but with your college opportunity, what will you do? Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. We will not go quietly. We will rage against injustice, as Attorney General Becerra said earlier tonight. And with students like Melissa and the other students we heard from, we know that we have an urgent imperative to act now. So thank you from the bottom of the heart of the Campaign for College Opportunity for joining us tonight. Please enjoy the rest of the food and continue to fight the good fight. Our students deserve nothing less.